Ava never thought her world could fall apart in just 1 second. But there she was, standing in the doorway, watching her fiancé, her future husband, in bed with her best friend. And the worst part? They were laughing. She felt like she couldn't breathe. The room spun around her. This wasn't real. It had to be a bad dream. Liam, the man she had loved for years, looked up at her, completely unbothered. He stretched like he had just woken up from a peaceful nap. "Oh," he said casually. "Didn't expect you back so soon." Ava's best friend, Naomi, lay beside him, tangled in the sheets. She smirked. "Oops." Ava couldn't move. Her body refused to function. "Why?" she whispered. Naomi let out a little laugh, flipping her blonde hair over her shoulder. "Oh, Ava, don't act so surprised. Did you really think Liam would spend his whole life waiting for a woman who can't even give him kids?" Ava's heart stopped. Her infertility, her biggest, most painful secret. The one thing only Liam knew. And now Naomi, the person she trusted most, was using it to mock her. Liam sat up, looking completely relaxed. "Naomi's pregnant," he said, like he was announcing the weather. Ava's stomach dropped. "I guess that means she succeeded where you failed," he added with a cruel chuckle. Ava felt like she had been punched. She turned to Naomi, praying that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't real. That her best friend wouldn't betray her like this. But Naomi only shrugged. "Face it, Ava. You're broken. Men want real women, not someone who has to pay doctors to get pregnant." Ava clenched her fists. The pain in her chest was unbearable, but she refused to cry. She refused to let them see her break. Liam leaned back, smirking. "Come on, Ava. Be honest. You knew this was coming. What choice do you even have now? No man will want you." Ava inhaled sharply. Then, she straightened her back, lifted her chin, and wiped her tears away. Liam laughed. "Oh, please. You're not gonna do anything." Ava met his gaze, her voice steady. "Watch me." And with that, she turned and walked away, leaving them both behind. As she got into her car, one thought burned in her mind. She was going to have a baby, with or without a man. Ava stormed into the hospital the next morning. She didn't care about Liam anymore. She didn't care about Naomi. She was done begging for love. If she couldn't get pregnant naturally, then she would do it on her own. Dr. Caldwell, her gynecologist, hesitated when Ava demanded an immediate IVF procedure. "I thought you were planning to do this with your fiancé," the doctor said gently. "He's not my fiancé anymore," Ava snapped. "And I don't need a man to have a child." Dr. Caldwell sighed. "Ava, you know this isn't something to rush. We need to make sure everything is in order." "I don't care," Ava cut in. "Use any available sperm. I just want this done." The doctor hesitated but eventually nodded. "All right. Let's run the tests." After hours of blood work and ultrasounds, they confirmed she was ready. She signed the paperwork, took a deep breath, and let them do the procedure. Meanwhile, in another part of the hospital, billionaire Damien Wolfe stormed into the office, his sharp suit and cold expression making everyone nervous. He was a duke, next in line to inherit his family's kingdom. But there was a condition: he had to be married and have a child before his 35th birthday. He had no interest in marriage, so years ago, he had banked his sperm to use when he found the right woman. And now, he was here to claim it. The hospital director swallowed hard. "Sir, we have a problem." Damien's eyes narrowed. "What kind of problem?" The doctor's voice shook. "There's been a mix-up. Your sperm was used on another patient." Damien's entire body went stiff. "What?" The doctor paled. "A woman, she's already pregnant with your child." Silence. Then Damien's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "Find her." Ava walked into the hospital a few weeks later for a routine checkup. The doctor smiled at her. "Ava, I have good news." Ava's heart pounded. "I'm pregnant." The doctor nodded. "You're 4 weeks along." Relief and joy flooded her. She had done it. She didn't need Liam. She didn't need anyone. Then, the door burst open. A tall, intimidating man in a black suit stepped inside. His presence commanded the entire room. His sharp jawline, piercing blue eyes, and undeniable authority made Ava freeze. "I need to speak with you. Alone." His deep voice sent a chill down her spine. Ava frowned. "Who are you?" He tossed a file onto the table. "I'm Damien Wolfe. And that child inside you, it's mine." Ava stared at him, then at the paperwork. She skimmed the pages, her breath catching as she saw the hospital's mistake. "No," she whispered. "This can't be real." Damien crossed his arms. "It is. And you will not be raising my child alone." Ava's hands trembled. "I don't care who you are. This is my baby." Damien's gaze hardened. "That child is my heir. I won't allow you to take my bloodline and disappear." Ava's heart pounded. "I'll sue the hospital for this." Damien didn't flinch. "Go ahead. But understand this, I'm not just any man. I am a duke, and that child is next in line for my empire." Ava shook her head. "No. I don't want anything to do with you." Damien stepped closer. "Then listen carefully. You will marry me. You will carry my child as my wife. And when the time comes, you will raise them by my side." Ava laughed bitterly. "You're insane." Damien's voice dropped lower. "You don't have a choice." Ava glared at him. "And if I refuse?" Damien leaned in, his voice cold. "Then you will lose everything. Including this child." Ava's breath caught. She had just escaped one man who wanted to control her. And now, she was trapped with another. Ava sat in front of Damien Wolfe, her arms crossed. The hospital director had left them alone, afraid of saying anything that would make the situation worse. Damien slid a contract across the table. "This outlines the terms of our marriage. Read it." Ava didn't touch it. "You're crazy if you think I'm marrying you." Damien leaned back, his sharp blue eyes never leaving hers. "You don't have a choice, Ava. You're carrying the future heir to my empire. My kingdom requires that I marry and produce an heir before I turn 35. You've done half the work, so now you'll become my wife." Ava scoffed. "Oh, great. So I get to be your contract wife just so you can keep your fancy title? And what happens after the baby is born? You throw me away." Damien exhaled slowly. "After the child is born, you'll remain in my life. As long as you are the mother of my heir, you will be provided for. You will have everything you need. But I need your cooperation." Ava shook her head. "You're out of your mind." Damien's voice lowered. "If you refuse, I will find a way to take custody of the child." Ava's blood ran cold. "You wouldn't." "I would," he said smoothly. "And trust me, in a courtroom, you won't win against me. I have power, influence, and a legal team that will destroy you." Ava's hands clenched into fists. She had fought so hard to escape Liam's betrayal, and now she was being trapped again. But she had one thing Damien didn't. Her conditions. She grabbed the contract and flipped through the pages. "Fine," she said, looking him straight in the eye. "I'll marry you. But on my terms." Damien smirked. "I'm listening." The wedding happened quickly, with no grand ceremony, just signatures on paper, making Ava Wolfe the Duchess of Rosenvale. Ava wasn't naive. This was a contract, nothing more. Or so she thought. A week after the marriage, she was in Damien's massive estate when the door burst open, and a tall, stunning brunette stormed in. Clarissa, Damien's ex-fiancé. She took one look at Ava and laughed coldly. "You married her." Ava braced herself. Clarissa turned to Damien, her voice sharp. "So, let me get this straight. You dumped me, the woman who was meant to be your duchess, and instead got this commoner pregnant." Ava opened her mouth to speak, but Clarissa cut her off. "Oh, sweetie, don't look so proud. This marriage won't last. He'll throw you away the second he doesn't need you." Ava smiled. "Oh, really? Because last time I checked, he's my husband now." Clarissa's expression darkened. Damien, however, remained silent, his gaze locked onto Ava's as if waiting to see how she handled herself. Ava wasn't going to be bullied again. She stepped closer to Clarissa, lowering her voice. You had your chance, and you lost. Don't blame me for taking your place. Clarissa's jaw clenched. And just like that, the war had begun. Ava had no idea she would run into Liam and Naomi again. She was at Damien's company headquarters, waiting in the lobby for him when she heard the familiar sound of cruel laughter. She turned and froze. Liam and Naomi. Liam sneered at her. Wow, Ava. Look at you. Guess you couldn't stay single for long, huh? Who's the unlucky man? Naomi laughed, eyeing Ava's stomach. Or maybe she got knocked up by some broke loser and is looking for handouts. Ava took a deep breath. Stay calm. Don't let them get to you. Naomi smirked. Face it, Ava. You're nothing without Liam. No real man would want you. Is there a problem here? A deep, authoritative voice rang out, making the entire room go silent. Ava turned, and there was Damien Wolfe, standing tall in his sleek black suit. Liam's face turned pale. Sir, he stammered. I didn't realize she was, my wife. Damien finished smoothly. Liam choked on air. Naomi's face twisted in shock. Ava finally smiled. Oh, did I forget to mention? I married Damien Wolfe. Liam took a step back. That's impossible. Damien walked forward, placing a possessive hand on Ava's waist. I don't appreciate people disrespecting my wife. His voice was calm but deadly. Naomi opened her mouth, but Damien's sharp glare shut her up. Ava looked Liam dead in the eye. Looks like I wasn't the one who lost, after all. And for the first time, Liam had nothing to say. Ava thought she was safe. But someone wanted her baby gone. One night, she was heading downstairs for water when she slipped on something wet. She barely caught herself before falling. Her eyes widened. Oil. Someone had tried to make her fall. Fear gripped her. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. Someone wanted to harm her child. And Ava was going to find out who. Despite everything, Ava started seeing a different side of Damien. He wasn't just cold and controlling, he was protective, caring, and gentle when it came to her and the baby. Late at night, when he thought she was asleep, she heard him whisper to her stomach, I won't let anything happen to you. And for the first time, Ava realized, she was falling for him. Clarissa was behind everything. She had bribed the maid to make Ava fall. She had planned to get rid of the baby so she could have Damien back. But she was caught. Damien threw her out of their lives for good. And with that, Ava was finally safe. Months later, Ava gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. Liam and Naomi. Irrelevant. Clarissa. Gone. And Damien. He looked at Ava, then at their son, and said the words that changed everything. Stay with me. Not because of the contract, but because I love you. Ava smiled through her tears. This wasn't how she planned her life. But maybe, just maybe, it was better than she ever imagined. Liam had lost everything. At first, he didn't see it that way. He had convinced himself that he had won. He had left Ava for Naomi, a woman who could give him what Ava couldn't. A child. A future. A real family. But as the weeks passed, something felt off. Naomi had been acting strange. Whenever he asked about doctor's appointments, she gave excuses. Whenever he mentioned baby names, she brushed him off. And whenever he tried to discuss their future, she changed the subject. Then, one night, he found out the truth. She wasn't pregnant. She had never been pregnant. The entire thing was a lie, a carefully crafted plan to separate him from Ava. Rage and humiliation burned through him. He had left Ava, the woman who had loved him unconditionally, for a lie. He had betrayed her, thrown her away, mocked her for nothing. Liam had never felt like a bigger fool. And now, he was done. Naomi was screaming as he packed his bags, throwing things across the room. You can't leave me, Liam. You can't just walk away. Liam zipped his suitcase without looking at her. Watch me. Naomi grabbed his arm, desperation in her eyes. After everything I did for you. After I gave you a way out of that miserable relationship. Liam yanked his arm away, his jaw clenched. A way out. Naomi, you trapped me. You made me believe I was going to be a father. Do you know what that did to me? Do you know how much I wanted that child? Naomi scoffed. Oh, please. You didn't want the baby. You just wanted a reason to leave Ava without looking like the bad guy. Liam flinched. Because she was right. He had wanted a way out. But not because he didn't love Ava. Because he was too much of a coward to handle their struggles. Instead of standing by her, he had chosen the easy way out. And now he had nothing. He grabbed his suitcase and headed for the door. Naomi followed, her voice rising. You think you can just dump me now? What makes you think you're better than me? Liam turned, his eyes cold. Because I might be a fool, Naomi, but at least I'm not a liar. Naomi's face twisted in anger. Go to hell, Liam. Liam let out a bitter laugh. Too late. I'm already there. And with that, he walked away. Weeks later, Liam found himself in the last place he ever expected to be, standing across from Ava. It wasn't planned. He hadn't gone looking for her. But somehow, fate had put them in the same place at the same time. Ava was glowing, with her baby, and looking more powerful than he had ever seen her. And Liam felt like nothing standing in front of her. She gave him a long, unreadable look before speaking. You look terrible. Liam let out a dry chuckle. I feel worse. Silence stretched between them. Then, finally, Liam exhaled and ran a hand through his hair. Naomi and we're over. Ava raised an eyebrow. Let me guess. The baby never existed. Liam swallowed hard. Yeah. Ava nodded slowly, as if she had already known. So, everything you threw our relationship away for was a lie. Liam let out a breath. Yeah. For the first time, Liam saw how badly he had messed up. It wasn't just about the pregnancy. It was about everything. About how he had treated Ava. About how he had let his own fears and insecurities push him to betray the one person who had ever truly loved him. And now, she was happy. She had moved on. She had everything he once wanted. And he was left with nothing. Liam cleared his throat. Ava, But she held up a hand. I don't need an apology, Liam. I've already made peace with what happened. Liam's throat tightened. I don't know how to fix this. Ava looked at him for a long moment. Then, finally, she sighed. Here's some advice, Liam. The next time you love someone, love them completely. Don't run when things get hard. Don't destroy the people who would have stood by you no matter what. Liam felt a lump form in his throat. Ava's gaze softened, not in pity, but in understanding. And next time, she added, make sure the woman you choose isn't just trying to win. Liam let out a shaky breath. I don't deserve your kindness. Ava gave a small smile. No, you don't. But I've moved on. And so should you. Liam nodded, looking away. You're right. He turned to leave. But just as he reached the door, Ava's voice stopped him one last time. Oh, and Liam. He turned back. Ava's eyes gleamed with quiet amusement. I wish Toy the best. Liam for the first time in a long time smiled genuinely. And with that, she walked away, without looking back. Because for the first time in his life, Liam understood what it felt like to be the one left behind. And this time, there was no one coming back for him.